Trigger warning, this episode contains stories with violence, abuse, and death towards both humans and animals. Please watch or listen with caution and care.
From the Word Ghost, baby.
Hello, and welcome back to From the Word Ghost, a paranormal podcast for believers and skeptics alike. I'm your host, AJ, and every other week I bring a brand new paranormal story to try and convince my skeptic co-host, Jamie.
That's me!
Of all things paranormal. Before we get started in today's episode, if you like the content, leave us a 5-star review on any podcast listening platform. And if you're new to the YouTube channel, I assume this one's going up on YouTube, leave us a like and subscribe down below. Helps a lot. Thank you very much.
We'll find out if it's going on YouTube, depending on whether your iPhone decides to record double audio and mess up the whole video like last time.
The game's the game.
The game's the game.
How are you anyway, Jay? We haven't actually
I'm
had
good.
the
We're
chance.
back. It's been a long time.
Again,
Just
life fucked us.
life getting in the way, of course. But you're back soon anyway, so we can record a bunch of content and
Hell yeah.
put it out next year probably at this rate.
Right.
Get the energy back up.
Today's episode.
Yeah, baby.
I did an errand
Today,
now.
you're pulling the energy down, pulling it down into your soul.
Today's episode, we are going to check out the Exorcist murder.
Ooh, murder mystery this
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
I like a murder.
I-
That sounds
It's
weird.
troublesome.
I like a murder.
I like the murder as much as the next
No,
guy.
I like a true crime, like a true crime documentary, a
Have you
true
s-
crime podcast. I'm fully locked into true crime mode at the moment. So you bringing me a true crime paranormal crossover is I'm all for it, baby.
Oh, mate, yeah, I knew I'd have you by the bollocks, literally, from the get-go. Right, so in 1974, a case shocked the country to its core. A brutally violent and out-of-character murder was committed by a family man. A family man well known for being peaceful and incredibly loving. The real question was this man overcome by his inner demons, or were they literal demons?
It sounds like a really corny murder documentary. It's like,
I'm so
was
glad
he-
I spent like fucking 3 hours writing this.
Was he
just for
taken
you to
by
call
his
it
inner
corny.
demons or demons?
This summer, he's about to find out. I would ask you if you know anything about this, but I already
Not
know
a
the
clue.
answer. You guys at
Not a
home, if you know about this, never mind.
Good. Actually, yeah. If you know a lot about this, just turn off now.
Yes.
You're not going to get any new information, and we'll probably get it all wrong. So if you've heard
you'll
of this
get.
case before, just go watch something else. Do both us and yourself a favour.
Just turn
Leave a
this on
5-star
mute.
review
Just
and switch it off.
That'll do. Ossett is a small market town near the city of Wakefield, West Yorkshire. Not exactly the first place in England that murder, violence and exorcism spring to mind, but today that is where our story takes place. The Taylor family called this market town their home in the year 1974. Michael, 31 years old, his wife Christine and their 5 children, yes, 5 children, would have described their life as nothing out of the ordinary. In fact, it was a life filled with love and happy memories. Michael in particular was described by his neighbours and friends as a spectacular father and a mild-mannered, polite individual. It was noted, however, that he was sometimes prone to minor bouts of depression, the cause of which had been due to severe back injury he had received a number of years before, and which had left him in chronic pain and an inability to find long-term employment. Apart from this observation, nothing else seemed to be amiss or unusual in the Taylor household.
Not a funny statement, just a question. Do we know what happened to his back?
No, it's not. It's not really
Carry
something
on.
that is. What am I,
Great.
fucking chiropractor
Got
or
the
something?
fucking facts lined up for us all. Always that.
Do you want me to spend a half hour going through his medical
wondered-
history?
I just wondered.
No.
It's not a medical history, is it? I'm not asking when he had a cold. I'm asking you. This is a pivotal point in the story, right? You've made it a point. I just ask what happened. You go fuck yourself, Jamie.
And I
What
stand
am I,
by
a doctor?
it.
Fuck off. All right, great.
Well, I know in future that you're going to want their fucking physio record. So fucking next back spasm that we have, on this fucking podcast. You are getting half hour.
That'll be the most research you've ever done.
I know. At the time, Ossett had a very religious population and most people regularly attended church. The Taylors, however, had never been particularly devout, mostly skipping church services that were It's been a while. Mostly skipping church services.
Fuck me. Get your shit together. Drink your piss. Look at the camera and tell me that don't look like piss. I don't even think the audience can see it. I'll just put this video. Yeah. Drink your gallon of piss.
It's just,
get the story.
It's a gallon of Mountain Dew.
Yeah, that's what you want people to believe. Put the piss cup down.
Recycled Mountain Dew. Mostly skipping church services that were held near where they lived, unless they were encouraged/dragged there by friends and neighbours. In a belief that Michael's periods of depression could be somehow eased with spiritual intervention, a friend of Michael's called Barbara Wardman took it upon herself to introduce him to a church group called the Christian Fellowship Group, which was led by 21-year-old pastor Mary Robinson.
Oh, we're going to have pastor. Pastor. I think it's pastor. Go for a pastor from here on out. And even if people say it's wrong, we just double down from here on.
Because I have your support.
I'll back you. As long as you don't say pasture, because I know that one's not right.
Yeah, pasture is probably pending now as well.
There's about 5 of them, and 4 of them could be right, but you pick the one that we know is not right. Okay? And that's the issue I have. You pick the only anomaly that we are 100% certain is wrong. Pick one of the other 4 that could be right, and we'll double down on it.
All right, pastor.
Though
Michael has always been a non-believer in religion up until this point in his life, he quickly found himself attending regular group meetings and become an active member of the congregation the others looked forward to seeing on a weekly basis.
It's funny how a lifetime of atheism just floats by when he sees a young 21-year-old
pastor.
Brother. Fuck me, brother. Pastor.
The longer he went, the more acquainted he became with the church's teachings and thoroughly enjoyed the charisma of Mary Robinson. Michael began spending what seemed an inappropriate amount of time with Robinson, attending more and more meetings and gatherings of the group, and joining Robinson in congregation where they would use the power of God to exorcise people of their sins and speak in tongues. They also began to engage in private rituals in which both Michael and Mary would stay up all night making the sign of the cross at each other in order to ward off what they believed was pure evil power of the full moon. In fact, it soon became clear to the rest of the congregation that Michael had become rather infatuated with Marie.
No, love, I promise I'm not cheating on you. We're up all night signing the cross on each other to ward off the evil powers of the moon. It just might be the worst excuse for infidelity I've ever heard.
Yeah.
The moon. we were... Don't you get it? Don't you get it, Barbara? We're trying to rid the world of the evil of the moon.
Fucking hell, Christine. Up all night. Did you get attacked by the evil moon? No. You're fucking welcome. I tell you what, next time I won't fucking bother. Just fucking fully gaslights.
I'll let the moon get you. I'll let him get you. I've had enough.
Oh, unsurprisingly, Michael's attitude at home towards his family began to change as a result. He was spending less and less time at home with them, and when he was there, he was irritable and argumentative, very out of character for Michael.
God damn it, the moon got to him. No one can help him now, it's too late.
It's just side-eyeing everyone, just like, you been out in the moon today?
He's got traitors in his soul now.
You stink of moon filth.
You stink of moon cheese. I can smell the moon cheese a mile away.
You sinner. The change of character was not only noticed by Michael's family, but also those around the neighbourhood, especially as his behaviour was now erratic at best, and his temper seemed shorter than ever. Michael's wife Christine was having none of it, and realised that Michael was indeed besotted by Marie. Christine took it upon herself to publicly confront Michael on her suspicions during one of the congregations, accusing him in front of his new group of being unfaithful. Now, if it didn't already sound bad enough, Nope. Now, if it didn't already sound bad or strange enough, it was at this point where Michael's behaviour would take a turn for the worse. Michael is reported to have felt an evil influence cast a shadow over him.
There's a total eclipse. Run, Michael. Run. The moon's taking over. He's blocked out the sun.
You all said I was mad, but look at me now. And then, compelled by this force, vented a sudden fury on surprisingly not Christine, but on Mary. He lashed out at her verbally and physically, to the point that several other churchgoers in the congregation had to physically restrain him, fearing that he would seriously hurt himself or someone else. Marie was later interviewed about the attack from Michael, and she had this to say.
I'll stop you right there. Where's Mary from?
Yorkshire. Yorkshire. I suddenly glanced at Mike. And his whole features changed. He looked almost bestial. He kept looking at me like there was a really wild look in his eyes. I started screaming at him out of fear. I started speaking in tongues. Mike also screamed at me in tongues. I was on the verge of death, and I seemed to come to my senses. I knew that the only name of Jesus would save me, and I just started saying it over and over again. Jesus.
Keep it moving.
When Christine heard me calling on the name of Jesus, she started singing it.
Singing it? It's just saying it, but if you want to sing it for us, Aaron.
She sang.
Again, one more time.
Heard me calling the name of Jesus, and she started saying it too. And I believe firmly that it was only by calling on his name that I were not killed.
I were not
killed.
Bit of information.
Despite his sudden violent behaviour, the church and even Mary forgave him for his outburst, but Michael was watched very closely by all in the congregation following this episode. I mean, rightfully so. I'm surprised they'd even let him back in. It soon became apparent that his deteriorating out-of-character behaviour seemed to now be permanent, and was in fact getting worse as time went on, with his sanity clearly on a downward spiral. The seriousness and frightening condition that Michael was in was so severe that several local ministers became involved, and came to the realisation that Michael might be under the influence of demonic forces. Finally, the local vicar came to the conclusion that an exorcism should be performed on Michael. It is a bit of a jump.
They're all jumps, really.
Yeah.
There's always, shall we take him to the hospital? Shall we get them mentally evaluated? Shall we take Satan out of their asshole? It's kind of like the jump that it goes to usually. There's a couple steps, and then they go, nope, we're going to do an enema.
Get the demon fisting kit. Two ministers by the name Father Peter Vincent and Reverend Raymond Smith were brought in to carry it out, and the exorcism was set to happen on midnight on the 5th of October 1974 at St Thames Church in Barnsley.
Surely you know that's like as in the River Thames. Thames. Surely it's the Thames.
All right, mate.
I know you've been in Northern Ireland for nearly a year now, but you've not forgotten the River Thames.
Maybe I have. Maybe I've never been now.
Bollocks. Absolute bollocks.
I don't do drugs.
He's a liar. I think he's taken by the moon, man, people.
The moon has got him.
Someone call the moon men.
That night, in front of the congregation of the Christian Fellowship Group, the two ministers began the ritual, which would prove to last throughout the night and well into the next morning. As soon as the exorcism had started, Michael went into uncontrollable convulsions and fits. He also broke into a spell of scratching, spitting and biting, requiring him to be forcefully tied to the floor.
Now, I'm not a logistics guy, but how do you tie someone to a floor?
I was thinking that.
This is my question. Like bed, I get it. Chair, I get it. Floor, where do you tie the knots?
Over the next 8 hours, Michael was subjected to all sorts of indignant acts, such as having crucifixes shoved into his mouth and being doused with holy water. All throughout, Michael was growling and snapping at anyone who came near him. The priests in charge of the exorcism claimed that the ceremony had managed to conclude that there were about 40 demons inhabiting Michael's body, representing such traits as incest, bestiality, blasphemy, lewdness, hearsay, masochism.
I wish I'd let you carry on for a little bit longer then. I try to figure it out.
And carnal knowledge.
Masochism. You fucking wrote it, bro.
I know.
What is going on?
The list was there and I was like, I can pronounce all of this without researching what it is.
Masochism. Sounds like when you try and reverse something into a full word.
As you can imagine, these alleged demons did not go easily from Michael, each one having to be reportedly dragged out kicking and screaming. After 8 hours of this, by 8 a.m. on October 6, 1974, the priest carrying out the exorcism could no longer continue through exhaustion. The priest, now feeling extreme fatigue, decided to finish the exorcism at a later date. Before doing so, they admitted that there were 3 demons that were too stubborn and refused to leave. Those demons being that of insanity, anger and murder. One of those present at the exorcism, a minister's wife, Margaret Smith, said that she had received a message from what she believed to be God. God spoke to her and warned her that Michael would kill his wife Christine as soon as he left. Margaret begged the 2 priests to complete the exorcism. They did not comply. Instead, they waved off her pleas as nothing but superstition. You've just performed a fucking exorcism.
You just said he's got murder still in his system, and I'm superstitious. They're just like, the voice of God.
When has murder ever done anything wrong?
What kind of superstitious shit are you talking about? You're crazy.
Anger, hatred, and murder never hurt anyone. You're
starting to sound like anger now, aren't you?
They told Michael and Christine to go home and rest, for the final part of the exorcism was to be completed the following day. It was about 9:45 the next morning, October 7th, and not 2 hours after Michael and Christine had been sent home to rest up, to prepare for what the next part of the exorcism. Just say that again. And not 2 hours.
Editor Jamie, go get a Snickers or something, bro, because you deserve it. Just go have a break for 5 minutes. Chill down. I know you're struggling right now. Just go get that dartboard that you put Aaron's face onto. Just fucking have a few throws and come back.
That's very rude. Not 2 hours after Michael and Christine had been sent home to rest up to prepare for the next part of the exorcism, that a police patrol car passing through the normally quiet streets of Ossett came upon a shocking and unnerving sight. Coming around the corner, the officer in the car, PC Ian Walker, was confronted by the sight of a man stumbling around in the middle of the street, naked and covered head to toe in blood. His body was completely drenched in it. Stopping the car and approaching the man, PC Walker saw the man curl into the fetal position and heard him ranting and screaming over and over, "'Tis the blood of Satan."
How does he scream that?
"'Tis blood of Satan!"
Nice. Carry on.
Glad you liked.
That's all I wanted.
Not surprisingly, the sign of a naked man covered in blood, screaming about Satan, caused a large crowd to assemble. The onlookers knew exactly who the disturbed man was. Of course, it was Michael Taylor. The police officers who had approached the man immediately called for an ambulance, fearing that Michael had hurt himself or someone else, and tried his best to talk to and calm Michael, who was still screaming and senselessly ranting only about Satan. He continued screaming as the ambulance from the local hospital arrived, and he was placed into it and taken away. Amongst the crowd was Margaret Smith, who had now given the officer Michael's address and told him to go and check on Michael's wife and children. PC Walker, upon arrival at the Taylor's house, was surprised and perhaps apprehensive to find a police car there already, which he later found out had been summoned by a frightened neighbour who had heard a commotion. PC Walker approached the house but was stopped by the sight of his inspector emerging from the front door, bending over and vomiting.
You don't want to see this one, son. I've seen nothing like it before, and I've seen a few. It's the wife. She's got no. He's ripped her apart, son. It's a right mess in there. There's not much of her left. You don't want to see it, eh?
What? Was that like a question? Like, hey?
Eh?
You don't want to see it, eh? You don't want to see it, eh? But can't fucking see this shit. Eh?
Feeling that he had to go in, PC Walker stepped into the Taylor's house and saw exactly what had shaken his inspector. The interior of the front room was destroyed, with signs of destruction apparent even from a cursory look. The interior of the front... No, I've just said that.
Oh, God, give me strength. I've never needed God
done.
more.
I'm fucking done.
To
It goes on
this
for a
fucking
while.
episode. There's so much. I'm leaving out notes. I'm not being funny for the next half hour, so we can just slam through this. Let's go. Blood covered every surface. Blood covered every surface of the room, along with flesh, pulp, and brain matter. And on the floor of the living room lay the bodies of Christine Taylor and the family pet dog, almost unrecognisable. There you go. I'll give you a line for free.
Come on,
keep going.
going.
No, it's fucking your time, brother.
The blood that had covered Michael Taylor was Christine's blood. At about 9:30 that morning, in the Taylor family house, Michael had killed his wife, the woman that he'd loved and the mother of his children. In a deranged attack, Michael had stripped off and strangled Christine and had literally torn her face off. There was no murder weapon involved. He had gouged out her eyes and ripped out her tongue with his bare hands, tearing the rest of her face down to the bone, so much so that she was left unrecognisable. Whilst Christine had died of shock and asphyxiation.
I knew that word was going to be a struggle for you.
That's the thing. I read it fine. I knew exactly
it.
what I was meant to say.
I saw it. It's like you know what the word is, but just
My mouth cannot do the job.
Yeah.
Whilst Christina died of shock and asphyxiation of her own blood, mercifully quickly, Michael had turned his attention to the Taylor pet dog, strangling it and literally ripping it limb from limb.
I'm not the fucking dog, man. Anything but the dog. I hate it.
Yeah, no. Might have to do a trigger warning for this episode.
Yeah, I think we might.
He had torn its legs from their sockets. We're definitely doing
The timing of that. Yeah. Do you want to just do it now? We'll put it at the beginning of the episode. Come right into the...
I think I
in the
need to
middle of the
calm
screen.
down before I do
Just-
it. because
No, just do
cannot
it now.
have
Why
them.
you laughing? It'll be good. Trigger warning. If you do not like... Go on.
If you don't like murder and dogs being ripped apart,
Good.
this is
Trigger
your
warning.
trigger
I
warning.
think you probably shouldn't say dogs being ripped apart. I feel
No, it
like
kinda
there should be a
ruins
trigger warning for the dogs being ripped apart. But
Right. He had torn its legs from their sockets and hair and teeth and eyes from the skull. He then left the house screaming and was found by PC Walker a short time later. It was described as being the most horrific crime scene that any police officer who had attended it was to ever see. Michael was taken into police custody from the hospital and interviewed some hours later. When he was deemed rational to talk, he was asked to try and explain what had happened. He told Detective Inspector Brian Smith about the exorcism that had occurred only hours before, saying,
It was a long night. They danced around me and burned my cross because that was tainted with evil. They had me in the church all night. Look at my hands. I was banging on the floor. The power was in me. I couldn't get rid of it, and neither could they. They were too late. I was compelled by a force within me to destroy everything living within the house.
Although Michael was calmed, he could remember nothing of the actual murder. When asked by D.I. Smith how he felt, Michael replied,
Released. I am released. It is done. The evil in her has been destroyed.
Although he appeared to have no motive for his actions, Michael Taylor was charged with the murder of Christine Taylor and was remanded to Broadmoor Secure Hospital in Berkshire to await trial. Whilst on remand, Michael was reported to have spent most of the time in silence or sleeping. The crime was a sensation. Horror such as this belongs in fiction and should not happen anywhere, let alone a sleepy Yorkshire market town. It created a media frenzy, and the bloody crime, coupled with the background of exorcisms and alleged demonic possession, drew huge amounts of interest to Michael Taylor's upcoming trial. Michael Taylor's trial for the murder of his wife Christine began in March 1975, and upon it commencing, the jury were advised by the barrister for the prosecution, Mr. Jeffrey Baker QC, that the evidence they were about to hear
will make it difficult to believe that you are not back in the Middle Ages.
So close. I'm really trying to give you space to get through this story. You're making
try an accent, and just out of nowhere, a little Forrest Gump tries to come through. He knows he's not allowed. But he tries. He's a naughty boy. Neither prosecution nor defence denied at the trial that Michael Taylor had severe mental issues. Michael himself testified again, claiming that he had no recollection of actually killing, that he had deeply loved his wife and had been under the control of evil supernatural forces, and that he had suspected that Christine had also been possessed by demons. He offered no other explanation, just pure gaslighting, just like, well...
This has just gone to craziness.
Yeah,
I can't even say anything funny because it's just absolutely horrible now.
The conclusion of Michael's trial was that he was to serve 2 years in Broadmoor.
2 years. I'd have given him fucking 20 for the dog.
The jury finding him not guilty of the murder of Christine by insanity.
That is mental to me.
That is insane.
Fair enough if he's insane, but isn't everyone who fucking murders someone insane? Do you not have to be insane to murder someone? I don't understand the concept. Yeah, exactly. But that's not murder then. That's like manslaughter or something, right? That's not
cold-blooded murder.
Go out and cold-blooded murder someone. Do you not have to be insane? It's just like, it feels like a fucking oxymoron. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just going round in cycles. Did you kill? It's like one of those trees where it's like, did you kill someone? No. Yes. Are you insane? Yes. It's just like, it just makes no sense to me. And if you are insane, like they deem it something different, then put him in a mental institution, but not for 2 years, for life. Like the rest of time.
If he's unstable, literally just lock him up somewhere.
I don't know, it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's for me, because this is almost like worse than someone who means to murder, because it's like, if they have motive,
brutally murdered someone,
they've got motive. It's not right, but they can kind of work through it. You can kind of see how they be redeemed, whatever.
Yeah.
And then could be released, like many, many moons. But like with someone who's like, I didn't do it, it was the moon men. Like, well, this guy is never coming back on the streets again.
Yeah, he cannot be.
I cannot trust that the moon men are not going to tell him to kill again.
Michael served his 2 years and then a further 2 years. Afterwards, he was released back into Ossett as he was deemed cured. Exactly 30 years later, Michael was sentenced to 3 years in prison for sexually harassing an underage girl.
Well, I'm starting to think it wasn't demons. It was bad men. This is no demons. This is evil man.
When arrested of his offence, Michael looked to the officer and said, "Am I going to Broadmoor?"
It's not how he said it, though.
Am I going to Broadmoor for murdering my wife?
Michael was released after his sentence, but has been under close watch by local authorities of Ossett since. His 5 children all have their own families now, have had no contact with their father for decades. The final exorcism was never completed. Does this mean that the demons of insanity, anger and murder still lie dormant within Michael Taylor? And if so, will they take control once again? Or was this really a story about a young man who was brainwashed into losing his mind from a now accused cult?
I'm gonna go with brainwashed. I'm going with brainwashed. Sprinkled with a bit of insanity, maybe.
I mean, everything was good until he went to church.
Demons didn't need to tag in for this one. Humans fumbled this one on
they
their own.
fumbled the bag
From the
big
priests to the police to the moon men. The moon men need to do more. I'll say it here. Controversial, everyone.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They need to do more. The moon men must do more.
Right, that is it. That's the story of the Ossett murderer. Jay, good story? Like the story?
Good story.
Yeah.
Very, very violent story for us.
It was very
Once I
out of
started to
character.
get that the vibe was changing, I was like, I can't make many jokes anymore. I've got to know my role and shut my mouth, as The Rock would say.
You jabroni. Oh, mate. Yeah, it's a bit of a mental story, this.
Yeah. Right, shall we end it there?
Yes, that will do it for us at From the Word Ghosts. If you want to be our next listener's story, Jay, where can they send their listeners' stories to, please?
You can send your story to fromthewordghost@gmail.com, or I don't know what to say about sliding today. I've slid into depression. If you want to slide into depression, like me and the Moon Men have done,
One of us.
you can slide
One of
into our
us.
Instagram DMs.
Slide.
3,
2.
1.
Wee.
Woo! Wow, woo! That was the clanger Moon Men sound.
Okay.
Woo!
Right, well, don't do that anymore. That's going to do it for us at From the Word Ghost. Join us soon, and we'll continue to explore the unknown together. Good night.
Good night! I don't know what that was. That was something new.